Help support the companies that support our community.
But I'm just gonna kind of go through this like it's a demo. If you guys have any questions, just go ahead and I'll answer them as we're going along. Don't worry about it, and we can stop and address whatever it is, or if you save until the end if you want, whatever you want to do. So, but I'm just gonna kind of go through it. We're gonna make a small little like keepsake urn lidded box, and just work through the whole process of putting the threaded rings in and all of that. All right. So let me go ahead and switch the camera over. We will get started. And if you have any questions, let me know. All right. So I have a Myrtlewood here, blank. It's 4 inches around and probably 4 inches tall. First thing we're going to do is go ahead and put it in between centers and get it trued up. And then we will start shaping it a little bit and get a tenon down on it.
You must be in Oregon, Carl. We call that laurel, bay laurel.
Oh, crepe laurel or crepe myrtle?
Did you call it Myrtlewood?
Yes.
Myrtlewood. Yeah, we here in California we call it bay laurel.
Oh, yeah, it's Myrtlewood here.
Yeah.
I grew up with it. My
Oh,
grandparents
cool.
lived over on the coast, and it's everywhere over there on the southern Oregon coast.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen that all the different shops there.
Yeah, yeah.
I've got a couple of big pieces of that in the shop too. I haven't done anything with yet. It's really burly, so I'm gonna have to probably stabilize it.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah, it's got some nice little character to it, some little bit of
Yeah.
not much burl, but it's got some nice color spots on it, so it should
So that four
should
inch
look
piece, are
good.
you looking to get both the vessel and the top out of that?
No, I'm just gonna do the vessel out of this, and then I have another little chunk right here that we'll do the top
Oh,
out
okay.
of. Yep.
Cool.
Yep. Yeah, so I'll get it trued up here real quick, and then we'll get a tenon on it and go from there. And I'm going to use a spindle gouge and lathe speeds about 1,000. And I cut it pretty close on the bandsaw, so it's not too far off.
Yeah, I think that's my next investment is a good sized bandsaw. Starting to get a little limited without it. That and I'm looking at those newfangled Harvey lathes.
Pardon me?
The newfangled Harvey lathes. Yeah, they've done some innovation with the lathe technology. It looks really cool.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, I haven't taken the $5,000 plunge yet, but
I'm going to put the tenon down on this end down here. Bring this down a little bit. That's got a couple little spots on it, but nothing major yet.
yeah,
We'll
the
get
grain
the
pattern on that's really pretty.
yeah, yeah, it's got some great. There's a chunk of it right there, and then it's kind of just straight, and then on the other side it comes through.
Not sure if the camera's picking it up. It looks like some chatoyance in there.
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
Yep. All right. Tenon down here. a little bit big. There we go. Should be fine there. All right. And then I'll get some of this material off there and give it a rough shape to it before we put it in the chuck. I'm gonna tighten it up a little bit.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say it's been slipping on you a little bit.
It's spinning.
For your chuck, do you do a tapered tenon or do you do a straight?
Tapered. Yeah, it's tapered a little bit. I'll pull the chuck up here in a second. And the jaws are tapered a little bit.
Mm.
Now I see John there, but I can't see you turning anymore.
So find the ellipsis on Carl's image there and pin him. It'll put him up full screen.
Ellipsis.
Oh, it's
Or are you on a phone?
I'm on the phone. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it's the blue box with the 3 dots in it. I'm not sure what it looks like on a phone.
very nice. All right, let me switch over to the other camera here real quick too. Kind of see coming in from the side.
It always amazes me just how little of the tool actually comes in contact with the wood. Yeah.
Still has a little, I can feel it, just a little teeny flat spot. I need to get that right there. Get that out. There we go. All right. And it's always, once I pull it out of in between centers and put it in a chuck, it's still going to have a little bit of a, it's not going to go back in perfect. So I'll come back over this.
Have you ever had it come back in perfect? I have not.
Pardon me?
I said I've never had it come back in perfect after switching things around.
Yeah. It's always off just a hair. Even if you pull it out of the jaws and put it right back in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still off. All right. Chuck on here.
Oh, you got one of those quick release.
Yeah. It's the easy wood, so it's super nice.
Yeah, I've got the PSI Barracuda chuck, and it's always a pain in the butt switching the jaws around, so I often end up not doing it.
Yeah,
Even when I should.
Right. Yeah, before I got this one, I had 3 of them just because it was 3 chucks, just because it's such a pain switching back and forth.
I'm definitely putting one of those on my wish list. This is an expensive hobby, Carl.
I know.
You are largely responsible for my entry into it.
Sorry, but not sorry.
I'm not the one you should be apologizing to. It's my wife. Although she has directly benefited, so gets me out of her hair, and I make pretty things for her friends.
Right? Oh. No. Yeah, I think I've been turning about 27 years and just love it. So I know it can get expensive though.
Mm. Yeah, now I've only been turning, I guess, about 3 years now. But started with just small stuff and been working my way up to bigger spindles and got some bowl blanks to try some bowls here soon. So
Yeah. I'm just going to clean up the face of that real quick. Yeah, I started out when I first started turning, I'm going to turn the lathe speed up about 2000. I started out turning lidded boxes. And I still just love lidded boxes, but I just kind of moved on to doing different things, but I still love doing these.
yeah, I got into rut doing the bottle openers. Um, and I think you and I talked about that when you and I chatted the other day. But I've got about 15 of them done now, and none of them went out as Christmas gifts. They're gonna end up going where I don't know if I'm gonna prep for a show and go try that experience, or if I'm gonna put them online or something. But they came out really pretty. You know, that you can't really appreciate that Niles uh, bottle opener until you have it in your hand. It is a hefty chunk of steel.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a solid piece.
Yeah, no, I love it. Feels like quality.
That's good.
Carl, do you do anything with your shavings
I
other
I
than
don't
no?
I don't do anything with them. Yeah, it's yeah, we don't have like a garden or anything or
Mm,
nothing. I mean, I do kind of use them every once in a while to start the fire or something, but
mm.
not much. All right, let me get the camera over here on this side. Get a little better view of that. All right. All right. So what I'm going to do now is we are going to use the threaded rings that go inside of here. So the uh, female is going to go in the base and the male will go into the top. We're going to go ahead and use a Forstner bit.
Is that a smaller size than you usually use?
This is the 1.5 inches. So
Okay.
we have 1.5 inches, 2.5, and 3.5.
Okay.
And we also, but they're in regular, the original ones, and these are the low profile ones.
Gotcha.
So they're the original ones. I'll show you real quick. What? Yeah. So here's the original ones. The
Oh
male.
yeah, those are beefy.
Yeah, male and female, and it has a collar. So when you put it in there, it has that big collar that goes down into for, and they're more for urns and things like that. But I mean, you can use them for lidded boxes. But these ones here, that's male and female right there. So
Right.
it's
Yeah.
half the height and less than half the weight. So it's just kind of you really once you get them in there, you don't even feel the weight difference.
Mm.
All right. So this is an 1.5 inch Forstner bit. We're going to lock that down. I still have the lathe speed running at 2000 RPMs right now. So I am just taking it and slowly putting just that point into the wood from the center of the Forstner bit.
Gotcha.
So, and the reason I do that is because it's going so fast, it takes that point and centers it all up. If you take the tail sock and just slide it up there and jab that point into the wood,
Mm-hmm.
chances are it's going to be off a little bit. And
Mm.
then once you start drilling, you'll start to see it wobbling it around. So
Okay.
once I start cutting into it, I'm gonna go ahead and go in now. I'm turning the lathe speed down to about 250, 300. We'll lock everything down. I'll switch the camera back to that one.
Size Forstner are you using?
And test it. It's down there just a little bit. I'm going to go in a little bit further though. It's right underneath that lip. It's a little bit countersunk in there, which is perfect. You don't want it to stick up at all, but I do have a little teeny lip there that I'm going to need to sand off that little lip. So I'm going to go down there just a hair more.
Carl, you said you're using an
Yeah.
inch and a half Forstner bit.
Uh, with the point, is that,
He wanted
Yeah.
to know the size.
oh, the size, it's inch and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, inch and a half. And the outside of these are inch and a half. And it will go right in there just like that. It's not moving around either. It's
Good.
it's a nice, it's a quick, easy way to do these. If if you were into making, urns or something like that, where you were doing a lot of them, I would get a 2.5 inch Forstner bit. It will speed up this whole process. On the larger ones, the insert on those goes in. So each side of this takes a recess in the
Mm.
base and the lid. So you can use the Forstner bit on both sides. The smaller ones, you have to make a little tenon for the other one, but not a recess. So you can't use the Forstner bit on it. All right. So I'm going to take another Forstner bit now. Smaller, a little bit smaller. I'm not sure what the size is on it. It's smaller than an inch and a half though. And I'm going to, what it's going to do is leave me a little lip around there, but I'm going to go ahead and put that into the depth of this so that it cleans out all the material in the center for me. Once I get it in there a little bit, I'll pull it out and show you. It leaves that little lip in there that the ring needs to sit on. So when the rings go in there, if you don't have that little lip, they would just fall down inside. But
Mm-hmm.
by just stepping down in the Forstner bit just a little bit, it leaves that, and it's going to clean out all that material for us down inside of it. Back this up a little bit, so we're not don't want to run the quill out there too far. It'll start to wobble around too.
Mm-hmm.
So even like when you're doing, like a lid of box and making tenon on it, or even not using the threaded rings, you get the same process. The Forstner bit really gets a lot of that material out of there for you, and it sets the depth.
Yeah, I imagine it cuts down the hollowing time quite a bit.
So you don't end up going through the bottom.
Mm.
Oh, I forgot all about it. So I am gonna upload this video. So it's I've been getting a lot of people asking. We did a video last week and I mentioned that we've been going through a lot of stuff. So I just wanted to let everybody know that my mom is doing well and we have her in a rehab facility and Robin is slowly recovering too. So it's been a long road. Yeah, Robin's got shingles a couple weeks ago, and my mom has been in the hospital and now in a rehab, but she's doing a lot better.
Yeah, you were saying something about internal shingles.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
never heard of that. That is wild.
I know. We hadn't either, and so it's yeah, yeah. So we're she's getting better every day though.
Good. Yeah, I've had a year like that myself. We had 3 deaths in the family, and I had 2 surgeries. So
Oh no.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the surgeries were a good thing. I actually get to spend a lot more time in my shop now.
Oh,
Yeah, it dealt with a lot of pain, but yeah, unfortunately, family members that passing away has been really hard. My wife's mom passed away.
oh no.
Yep, we just got back from Alaska actually.
Oh
Uh,
man.
yeah, for the funeral. So
Sorry to hear that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, my mom keeps telling me, she go, just hold out as long as you can. You don't want to get old. I go, all right, mom. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
All right. So I'm going to use that number 2 hollower now, and I'm going to go ahead and come around and clean out all of this material. I might grab the number 3 because it's out here a little ways. So, but we'll start with this one and see how far we can get over there. So all you want to do is you can see that is not touch that little shelf in there and just go in right after the shelf and start getting that material out of there. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the dust collector so it will get it out of there
okay.
for me. And it shouldn't be that loud.
No, I can't even hear it.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, my lagoon is really quiet too. It's really nice.
Yeah, the noise canceling on this thing is amazing. Oh, all right.
Yeah, that tech has sure come a long way. I don't, you probably can't even, my coworkers can't hear it. I've got a really noisy 3D printer running next to me, and my headphones don't pick it up at all, or my mic rather. Oh.
Well, I need to get some better speakers because I can barely hear you when the dust collector's going.
Ah, so when you're hollowing out a item like this, you know,
The what?
so when you're hollowing out an item like this, are you overly worried about it getting it super smooth inside, or are you just trying to get rid of the material?
Hang on one sec. Sorry.
Sure. No, you're fine.
Yeah, I need to Need to move the speakers closer to me or something because I can barely hear you. All right. I'm sorry. What was the question?
So when you're hollowing out something like this, that's intended to hold ashes or something like that,
Yeah.
do you worry about getting it super smooth inside, or you just focus on evacuating the material?
Yeah, just evacuating material. It's, I mean, something this small too is really hard to get in there and sand that out. So
Mm-hmm.
I will try and make a nice, smooth, clean cut on it.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as, sanding on the inside of that, it would be difficult. If it was a larger urn, like with like a 3.5 inch opening, you can definitely get in there and get that all sanded up really nice. But it's just, you know. You'd have to put a sandpaper on a stick and get it in there, but it's just take a nice clean cut and it's does a fairly nice job. All right. I'm gonna grab the air compressor real quick because I can with that dust dust collector on. I can't hear you, so I'll get them cleaned out this way. Just keep working at it, getting it down there. So, and with the curved hollowers too, you can get back up around right into this spot here. Just kind of bring it around a little bit so you can come in at a little bit different angle, and you can really clean out a lot of material right up in here. And with like a lidded box, I want everything as far as the wall thickness, want it all even and really and fairly thin. But with an urn, I leave them a little bit thicker in case it falls off the shelf or something. So I'm not as concerned with getting the wall thickness thin on these as I am like a vase or something like that.
Yeah, you wouldn't want that to fall and crack open, right? Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. Keep working my way down now. I'm gonna go ahead and probably switch back over now to the number one hollower. So I have that cleaned up right there, and I'm right down in here as far as not not hollowing it out. I mean, I got way down in here, but as far as the wall thickness, it's a little thicker here than it is right here. So I'm going to start working on this from here down to get that, because this is still pretty thick right there. So switch back over to this one and do that. I'm going to check the depth real quick. So we are right there. Keep getting that cleaned up. That little teeny nub in there. Kind of rock the tool back and forth a little bit until you catch it. You can kind of see the tool going back and forth a little bit, and it just kind of waiting to catch. There we go. And now it's running straight in. Go. So I'm all the way down into right about there. Clean these out and then see if I check on the wall thickness and then yeah, it's still a little bit thick right there. So it's nice right there, and it starts to get a little thick there and down. So I'll work on that a little bit more. I think I'm gonna have to go back to this one for this spot right there.
Is that the 2 again? Is
Pardon me?
that the number 2?
Yeah, that's a number 2. If this was really, like flat straight across here and then went down, then you probably need the number 3. But this one, you can see it gets, I'm right here on the thing with just the number 2, so it's doing a nice job. Go.
So, Carl, are you using what kind of tips are you using on that? Is that a negative rake or a scraper?
No, it's just a regular flat cutter, not the negative rake. Yeah. If it was like acrylic or resin, I would be using the negative rake, but on something like this, it's Myrtlewood is a lot like maple as far as, how it turns and everything. So it's doing a nice job. It's not trying to catch or anything, so all right, let me turn the dust collector back on for a second, get rid of all this stuff, and then we'll move on. Okay, I'm gonna leave that on for a second, and I'm going to go ahead and run through a couple of grits dry, and then we'll get some oil on it. But I'm going to leave that on for just a minute while we do this. And I'm going to turn the lathe speed down to about 300. So, and when you're doing like something like this or a lot of different projects, so I'm going to flip this around and use the chuck to finish off the bottom of it. So you're sanding it actually twice in the opposite direction. So once it's flipped around, it will be sanding the other way. So it's really nice. But they're like this part right here, I'm not going to be able to get to when I flip it around. So you need to run through your grits now and get it done. All right. Okay. Well, let's turn this off. We'll go ahead and use the oil now. And
I assume you're talking about walnut oil?
yeah, we will sand it, the rest of it with that. So it eliminates all the dust and it's putting a nice finish on it. I mean, if you like shiny, then don't, I wouldn't go with this, but I like that satin look. So it's something I do all the time.
Yeah, I started using that on some of my stuff. I used it on that Cocobolo screwdriver I showed you. I really loved how it brought out the color in the wood.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does. And and it's getting rid of all that dust. So it's kind of,
Yeah.
a win-win.
Yeah, you just got to be careful about where you put that sandpaper after you're done, because man, does that attract sawdust and stuff,
Yeah.
shavings, and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to get myself a little container so that, you know,
Yeah, a little like Tupperware.
yeah,
Like it
just something to when I'm not using it that it doesn't get mucked up with other stuff.
right? Yeah, you can just put the lid on it. Yeah, it does. It everything sticks to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like when I first uh well, not when I first started turning, but after shortly after that, I started sanding with like mineral oil.
Oh.
I was making a lot of baby rattles. And so it's, like food safe and,
Mm-hmm.
so I was finishing them with that and sanding with that, but mineral oil doesn't really dry. So it was kind of always had if you laid it down on something, it would leave a little spot even weeks later. So I started playing around with different things to do it, and I used there's a Howard's beeswax and orange oil, which worked really well, but it still has that wax in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started using the walnut oil, which doesn't have any wax in it, and it just runs right through the sandpaper, so it works really nice. All right.
Yeah, as long as you don't have any walnut allergies in the house.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
That allergy is one of the nastiest ones.
y-
Ugh.
yeah. Well, this stuff um, is you'll have to go. You can go on his website because I don't know, he's a chemical scientist or something. I'm not sure exactly what he is, but this walnut oil is like double or triple boiled, and there are no proteins in it. And if
Hmm.
you have a walnut allergy, you can drink this stuff.
Really? That's
There's
wild.
the protein is what causes the allergy.
Hmm.
And so he explains all of it on his website, but
That's cool.
he but even if you have a walnut allergy, this stuff won't affect you at
Yeah,
all.
that's clearer than the stuff I bought.
Oh, is it?
Mine's got a little bit of color to it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah,
Or
you can maybe it's Doctor's Woodshop is the website.
uh,
Um, but yeah, you can go on there and read about it if you want to. But it's Robin has a walnut allergy that she got not too long ago, a couple years ago. So she can't be in here when I turn walnut. But
oof.
she films all the projects and she's right here with me and I use this stuff every time. And she doesn't even know. Yeah, we talked to Mike about it, and he's all nothing. He goes, "You can put that stuff on your salad."
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it really does have some really nice
Yeah.
color there. Can you
Uh-huh.
switch cameras back over? Yeah,
Yeah, that grain's really pretty.
yeah, yeah. All right. So when I was putting the oil on and sanding, I just kind of took my time and was careful not to get it down into that recess there,
Hmm.
right there. So it's just kind of be easy when you're going around it and don't goop it down in there. And then that way we're going to epoxy a ring in here in a little bit and you'll won't have the oil on it. But the other thing about the walnut oil is it actually dries. Takes a little while, but it dries. Switch jaws back to those little pin jaws. Now we're gonna use that recess right there. That in there. Tighten that up on the
So when
side.
you're doing that, are you avoiding the shelf you created in there?
Pardon me?
Are you using the shelf or are you
Yes. Yeah. The shelf is gonna hold the rings. It's gonna keep the rings from falling down inside.
right, right. What I meant was the are you because that would be fairly thin right there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's a thin little shelf. It's just
Yeah.
can you
Well, what I was
see?
trying to get at, are you putting the chucks up to the shelf or are you actually using the shelf?
Oh, no, I'm putting the jaws up to the shelf
Okay. All
where
right.
where it just hits them like that. So
Gotcha.
let's
Okay.
so get the mandrel back or live center back in there. So we're gonna get it all lined up. Bring this up. A little bit of pressure on it, and then we'll expand these. So we're gonna get all that material turned away from there, and then we can pull that away and finish sanding it. Go. Got everything locked down. All right. Back to the spindle gouge. Get all this cleaned off. And the bottom, when it was on there, is right there. So I'm going to use a little teeny bit of that tenon to make that part of the bottom.
Yeah, the way you had that on there initially, I thought you were going to turn that into a foot, but
Pardon me?
so I thought you were going to turn that into a foot, but I guess
Oh,
not.
yeah. No. Just take it off and make it just nice and clean going around there. No. Then we'll come in and cup it out just a little bit. There we go. There we go. Got a little bit of a spot there where it transitions. All right, now we still have it secured in here. Not going to go anywhere. We'll check it one more time to make sure. And then we'll clean that off right there. And this is the number one hauler again. And just on these, when you're doing that, the only thing that's holding it in there, that the expansion on those. So the nice light little cuts, don't put much pressure on it. The further you get out here to the edge of it, the more pressure it puts on those. So just go nice and slow. Go. Use use the side of the tool too to make sure you can see a little bit of daylight there, which is always good. All right. Just gonna do one grit dry on this down here, and then we'll switch back over to the oil.
What grit you start with there?
180. Yeah, and then I usually do like 180 and 240 and then switch over to the oil. Should be good. Yeah. All right. Yeah, and the sandpaper it's Abernet.
America.
Yeah.
Ebernet, yeah, Merca.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it works. It works really, I mean, it's great sandpaper, but it works really well with the oil too. It just runs right through it.
Yeah, I switched over to that from the oxide stuff, and I'm never going back.
Yeah. Yeah. It lasts a lot longer
It
and
does.
yeah, it's
I,
great.
I get a lot of projects out of one set of paper, you know. So.
Right? Yeah, and even kind of you can see it's like full of dust a little bit there,
Hmm.
but if you just put a little bit more oil on it, it cleans it right out. So it works great. Yeah,
Oh,
and
so you
so
don't try to buff off the stuff from the previous grid, huh? You just keep going through them?
yeah, just keep going through them.
Okay.
And so I already sanded all that all the way up to 600. So
Hmm.
with each grit, I just go a little bit further up the piece, no matter
Well, what?
whether it's a
Yep.
bowl or what. I just keep working my way back up because we only turned about into here. So
Hmm.
each grit time I change a grit, I just keep going up and I'll finish off with 600 with the whole thing.
Well, what I was getting at is, when you're turning dry, I tend to wipe out the sawdust and sometimes use alcohol, in between grits, because
Oh,
otherwise it tends to pick up the dust from the previous grit and, you know.
right. Yeah, with this, I kind of, I guess I do kind of wipe it off every once in a while with in between grits. Now that you say that, but I did, but sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's just kind of, depending, I guess, how big of a hurry I'm in. But yeah, I know like a lot of people use like sanding sealer and stuff like that. I've never used it. Not that I know anything about it or opposed to it. I just don't don't use it. I just sand with the oil and
If I want a nice shine on something, I'll use sanding sealer. It kind of closes up the grain. So
right,
I sand it up to 240, apply the sanding sealer, maybe a couple of coats of it, and then I go through the rest of the grits dry. And Yeah, you do that, and then do the microfine abrasives after that, and it polishes up a lot nicer when you use that, particularly on a softer wood.
right. Okay.
But if you're going for a matte finish, I wouldn't see any reason to use it.
Okay. Yeah, I've been meaning to try it just because everybody's always asking asking about it, and I keep telling them I have no idea, but I'd like to try it so I had some sort of idea. Yeah. All right. Pull this out of there. There we go. Yeah, it just has some beautiful grain in it.
Hmm.
And then we'll put the ring in here in a bit. Well, once we get the lid done. So I'm going to set this aside.
It's not
For,
bad for under an hour. My gosh.
Yeah,
what time is it? Oh,
7 o'clock.
all right.
Well, Eastern. So
4 o'clock here.
All right. 4 o'clock here. All right. We'll go ahead and do do the lid now. All right. And where did I? Oh, there it is. Get all this out of the way. All right. So we're going to do the same thing. Same thing. We're going to put this in between centers. And give me 1 sec. Let me find center on it. We're close. think that's good enough. All right. Good enough for YouTube work.
Hmm.
All right, this one's a little more off, but no worries.
Wow, that easy wood chuck is not cheap.
No, it's not. But you only need one. You don't need
It's $470. Wow.
yeah. All right, I'm gonna use spindle gouge again and get this trued up, and we'll get a little tenon on this one too.
Is that Myrtlewood as well?
Um, hang on a sec on the chuck, because I thought it was for 425 or 435.
Well, the Easywood website sent me to Amazon for the
Oh,
C1000.
yeah, it might be more expensive on Amazon. All right, there we go. Do the same thing, make a little.
Yeah, I mean, I just went from their website. I'll probably check out like Woodturnings or
Okay.
you know,
Um, yeah, yeah, I'm not sure. It's been a while since I looked at the price
yeah,
too.
Rockler's got it for 480 too.
Oh, okay. Well, that must be what it is now.
Taylor's got it for 450. Grizzly is selling it.
Are they?
Yeah, for 430. That's not a place I would have expected to find that. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Back to the bigger jaws. There we go.
How large a jaw can you put on that?
You can put hang on one sec, let me grab them.
I know my one ways only go up to 4, so I moved up to Vic Mark to get up to the 6-inch.
Yeah, you probably have to go to I believe these are the 4.5.
Oh yeah.
These are this is the biggest set they have.
Okay.
Yeah, which are pretty good size.
Mhm.
It's really, I got the chuck and I waited, I don't know, maybe 6 months and realized I didn't need the other ones and just sold them on eBay years ago. Um, but yeah, it's really nice. Even with the cold jaws, they pop in
Mhm.
and out with that little pin too.
Nice.
So yeah, I know it's expensive, but you don't need to get three of them to.
Mhm.
Yeah, 3 of them get add up quick.
Yeah, yep. All right, let me go ahead and get this cleaned up. And I'll just do that. And the lathe speed's at 2,500, I guess. And we'll switch back over on the cameras. Get this cleaned up, and so it's gonna be the inside of the lid, and we'll make a little tin in here. Use the calipers for that, bring it right up to it. And we want a tenon to fit on the inside of the male there. It's right there. Down a little bit low. There we go. And so when you use calipers like this, just touch this one side, not both sides. And you'll be able to, yeah, we're on that camera. So you'll be able to see if I were to touch this way out here, you can see where that line shows up over there. So it's nowhere close to this one. So I just kind of eyeball it, and you can see that's still a little off. And you can see that one is lined up right where that other point is. So that's our tenon. And then I always leave them a little bit big and come back and adjust them. But
Yeah, better to make it too big than too small.
yeah. Yep. So there it is. So we'll come out here just a little bit. And then come back and refine it. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit too. Kind of cup it out just a hair. And you could even, like on this part right here, the inside of the tenon, you could do, some really nice detail in there to make it stand out. I'll put just a couple little lines in it just to
Yeah.
just something to make it, when you open it up, it kind of pops a little bit. All right, I'm gonna get rid of all this material here. And then we'll start working on the tenon. So you can use the calipers again to kind of do a little bit closer adjustment on it. We'll use the parting tool. You can see it's still a little bit big, and we need it to be a little bit longer too. And when you're doing a tenon like this, if you come out here on the on the end of it out here and set the calipers for that, there's less chance of just coming in and making it too small right off the bat. You come out here, and that way you could always taper it a little bit if you had to. So a little bit more. Now we can kind of bring that down to match it. Work out here a little bit. Then we'll go ahead and bring the actual ring up here and do the final on it. Needs to be a little bigger. That's still a little ways to go. And I'll just keep using the ring now till we get it there. There we go. That's going over that. So now I can just flush the whole thing up, and it'll be really close. Just a hair more. There we go. Actually, I need a little bit more. It's kind of a little bit crooked, a little too tight. There we go. Now it's nice. Nice and flat all the way around. All right. Perfect. Now we can just start shaping this is the bottom of the lid. So we'll start shaping that and then we'll sand that before we flip it around. Because we're going to use that tenon right there, put those little jaws back in it, grab a hold of that and finish off the top of this thing. Go up above. Yeah. I'm gonna grab the box or the bottom of it. And so just hold it up there. I think that lid's a little bit too big, so I'll bring it down a little bit. So just kind of judge, proportion wise, I think that lid's too big. So we're gonna bring the diameter down just a little bit because we probably only want a lid that just hangs over maybe a 1/4 inch from the hole, not too big. All right.
Thank you.
I'll part this off here in just a sec, but I'm just doing a little bit of shaping on the top of it. Mostly just bringing down the material so we can get it parted off. All right. So now that we have that done, we'll go ahead and same thing here. We will just run through a couple of grits. Try not to touch the tenon too much. And on this one, I won't put the oil on it. I'm going to run through all the grits actually dry because there's no way I can do it without getting oil on that tenon, and I need that to be dry for the epoxy. And then I'll oil the lid later. Yeah, just once you flip this around and grab it, once you part it off and flip it around, you won't be able to sand it. So get it done now. Now we can part it off. Turn the lathe speed back up. Got all that down. You can't quite see it, but there's a little detail rings. They're full of dust right now, but we'll get them cleaned up. All right. We're going to switch back to the pin jaws. Use that tenon right there. I'll bring the tailstock up to support it for just a second, I think. But we'll see. It might hold it enough. I think that's good. I think it's going to make it. And we'll just go right back to the number one hollower here. Lathe speeds up. Gonna go easy. Make sure it's gonna stay in there. It's a pretty small tenon that's holding it on, or that it's held on by. So we don't want to go crazy.
The lid's pretty small. You gonna do a finial for that, or?
So and we'll run through our grits again. And the lathe speed back down. Just kind of cleaning up the spot in the center to make sure it's, because it's the hardest part to sand out, is the very center. Now this could probably switch over and I'll oil this one because I'm not going to get it down in the tenon. And if you did get oil on the tenon, you can always just wait for the walnut oil to dry. or, you know, take a little something and scratch it up a little bit to, you know, get it back down to the bare wood, but it's not the end of the world. So
Yeah, epoxy's a little more forgiving than some of the other glues.
yeah. All right. And there. Oh, all right. Yeah, I usually like once I run through a couple grits dry, I just kind of take a paper towel. I don't blow it out or anything. I just wipe off the dust from that and then start with the oil. And yeah, I usually wipe it off in between grits, like you were talking about earlier. Because it does, you know, especially on the lower grits, um, you know, you can see the dark slurry on it from, you know, from 180. It's hard to see really anything at, you know, 4 or 600. It looks pretty clean, but you can definitely see that there's, you know, sanding dust right all over there. All right. There we go. And can you see all that grain right there? I'll pull it off here in a sec, but it's got the same grain as
Mm-hmm.
the base.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that is really nice. Really nice. I love it. Love it. So, mm, switch cameras over. I don't know how well you can see it, but yeah. Let me get it a little closer. Yeah, it just has some beautiful color in it.
So on something like that, you probably want to try to line up the grain.
Yeah. Yep.
How
And
do you
so,
do how do you do that with the threaded rings?
all right, let's do that. All right, give me 1 sec. Let me clean off my work area.
Sure.
I'm gonna turn on the dust collector for a sec. Get all that out of there. And we'll mix up some epoxy. So with this, you want to do the base first. And what we're going to do is grab some 5-minute epoxy. And we're going to grab my special stirring stick. And I think this is custom. This is custom. So go to Costco and get yourself a pack of 10,000 Dixie cups. And
Uh-huh.
they're perfect. And then popsicle sticks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'll never need to buy a Dixie cup again. All right. So it's 5-minute epoxy. This is the one I found that switch
Oh
cameras.
yeah, I like the Gorilla Glue one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one I was trying a couple different ones. This one seems to be the best. I just squirt a little bit into the Dixie cup and mix it all up.
Yeah, that one's good if you don't need to worry about a lot of torque.
Yeah,
Something like a screwdriver, there's one that's got metal shavings in it that works really well for that.
oh, nice. Yeah, yeah. This is not going to have any real pressure put on it. So, yeah. So it actually it says 5 minutes, but you have longer than that as far as working time. It's it gives you, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. If I'm gonna like put it right back on the lathe and like use it, I let it set up for a couple of hours. Just if I want to thread it back onto the lathe and do something. But okay, we're on the camera, good. All right.
Yeah,
So
my only complaint about that stuff is it's kind of stinky.
yeah. Just a bit.
Especially when you got to get your nose right up to it because you got to see what you're doing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does have a weird little smell to it. So I just put a little bit in there like this. With the bigger rings, the original ones, I put it right on the ring, just with the popsicle stick. But with the smaller ones, I put it on the wood, and it really doesn't take much. There's just not. There's little grooves in this that are kind of barbed. You can all feel them. So once you plop that thing in there, it is
Can't
not.
see what you're doing, Carl. We
Oh,
got a nice profile of your
oh,
face, though.
sorry. I say something if I'm off. Um, so I just used the popsicle stick and put it around that little shelf right there, and then popped it in there. So the threaded rings, they're grooved on them, so you can kind of feel there's a little barb in it. So once you slide that down in there, that epoxy goes in those little grooves, and it's not coming out. Once it hardens, you're not going to get it out of there. All right, so we don't have time all the time to wait for this, but I'll show you exactly what I do to get the grain lined up. And it's very simple. It's just a time thing. So we have the base in there. I let that set up probably, I don't know, maybe half an hour or so. Just make sure it's all set up. To get the grain to line up, I take the other ring, thread it right into there. Hang on. There we go. Thread it right down into it. Make sure you go all the way down to where it's just flush like that. And then put your epoxy on this part right here on the tenon, and just set it right down there. Line your grain up exactly where you need it, and let it set.
Cool.
I let it set for 10 minutes or so, and then and you can unscrew it. And that way, when you bring it around, it'll always come back to that spot. But just make sure you thread this all the way in there so that it's not proud. So if you just thread it in there a couple of turns and glue
Right, it
that
won't
on
be.
there,
Yeah.
yeah, you're still gonna have that. So make sure it goes all the way down. The wood's actually touching the other wood, and let it set up. I did a Spectraply one a while back, and I got the grain to line up on the Spectraply. And
Oh wow,
doing it,
nice.
doing exactly the same thing we just did there. Just just put it wherever it's supposed to actually go and line it up. This is two separate pieces of wood, so it's never going to actually line up.
No, no, but just going in the same direction,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You don't want it to look like that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's the only thing I do to get the grain to line up is just quick little. Well, see,
Yeah.
trying to come out. So we're gonna wait. Push that back down in there. Let it sit up. All right. All right. Well, so I so we do club demos all the time for turning clubs. And so the reason I just thought about just why not, we can just do one. It doesn't have to be for a club. Just invite whoever wants to show up and just do one. So I think we're gonna, do one every couple of weeks or every few weeks. I'll come out here on a Sunday and do something. So if you have any suggestions for, like the next one, actually the next one I already thought about because we get a lot of questions off the Niles website about like the threaded inserts, the stainless and the brass. It's a lot of questions about that. So I'm gonna do a stopper or an opener or something and a pizza cutter and just kind of show the difference and on why they're different and all of that. But if there's something you want to see, let me know. Just shoot me an email, shoot me a text, and we can line up, and we'll probably do one on the jig. I know the jig is a really popular demo. We do that. I just did one last week for a turning club up in Washington. So
What jig is that?
the joiner off center jig.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen too much on that, so that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward once you see how it all goes together in the components, but just kind of looking at it on the table, it's like, what is that? So it's
that and the texturing tools.
Yeah.
Those are I've seen them, but I haven't actually seen how they actually work.
Yeah.
So,
But it's So I thought, why not? We can just like doing a club demo, just come and hang out, answer questions, and
yeah, no, this was a lot of fun.
Thanks.
Like a private demo, just the two of us. That's great.
Yeah. And then everybody out on the tubs.
You're right. Yeah. Just the two of you for right now.
Yeah.
So in the comments are going, who are those two yahoos with you?
Now that I really enjoyed this,
All
Carl.
right. Well,
Thanks
Appreciate
a lot. I appreciate it.
Thank you
It's
guys.
fun.
Take care and you have a happy Thanksgiving.
You
too,
too.
sir.
Okay. All right. Bye.